Let's do this. All right. Well, welcome today to today's episode of the Sportscast. I see some familiar faces. I see a couple new names and all that. So if you're new, welcome. We're going to go through a couple of different things. We have a couple of opportunities to win some prizes, and hopefully we'll have a fun show for you. So I'm Jason Blank. I'm Senior Director of Sports and one of the regular rotating hosts. And then I have a new co-host this week. Sam, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Sam. I'm the Athlete Records Manager. I'm in the Madison office. So if you're an athlete, I have processed your medical and I let you know when your medical's due.
So I will tell you this, Sam is not your typical Wisconsin fan. So you have two non-Wisconsin fan hosts today. So I will apologize for that ahead of time. But Sam, what are your teams?
My team is the Bears. My family is from Chicago. So I grew up in Iowa, actually, but we are Bears fans. Iowa doesn't have a professional team. So most people in Iowa are either Bears fans, Packers fans, or Minnesota fans.
Woo-hoo. Right, Racy, go Vikings. So and that also makes you a Hawkeye fan.
Absolutely.
So we'll get the Wisconsin version of the show from our athletes today. So what we want to start off with is just our general discussion topic today is who's your favorite athlete of all time. So Sam and I are going to share ours. So you guys want to think about yours, and we'll call in some people if you want to share. So see, I need to make sure I pull up your thing here, Sam. So
yeah,
I'll go first while I'm looking for it. So my favorite athlete of all time is Shaquille O'Neal, and part of it is just happens to be when he started playing. I loved basketball in the 90s. That's what I grew up with, and Shaquille O'Neal was dominant during that time frame, and just a lot of fun to watch. And the fun part about Shaq was he's like a big kid. He still's a big kid, even though I don't know how old he is now, but when I was reading a book when I was in elementary school about him, and his favorite food is macaroni and cheese, and his first house, he had a moat around it, which is a lot of fun. So it just kind of was fun to connect with him on that side of things. Magic were a fun team, and he got traded to the Lakers. So I thought it was a fun guy to watch, and I ended up owning a Shaquille O'Neal Lakers jersey and a Shaquille O'Neal Dream Team jersey. And part of that was growing up, I was the taller kid, and so I played center. So I wanted to play center like Shaq did, but I wasn't like Shaq, so I couldn't dunk and bring down the basket and all that type of fun stuff. So that's my favorite player of all time, our favorite athlete of all time. And then I will pull up something here for Sam's. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Here we go. You ready for this, Sam?
Yes.
Here you go.
All right. So this is me. I was 11 years old. And this athlete, you may not know, his name is Greg Louganis, and he is an Olympic diver. He won gold medals at the 1984 and 1988 Olympics, both on the springboard and platform. He's the only man and the second diver in Olympic history to sweep the diving events in consecutive Olympic Games. So like I said at the beginning, I grew up in Iowa City, and in 1985, Iowa City hosted the AAU Junior Olympics. So he happened to be at the mall and we went to go visit him, and this is a picture my mom took of us together. So yeah, and it's funny, I don't even like to swim, but diving is one of my favorite events to watch at the Olympics. So I'm really bummed that the Summer Olympics got postponed, but I can't wait to see the diving competition.
That's very cool. I always know when the Olympics come around, there's always a sport that I watch that I only watch every 4 years. And diving always pops up there, especially when they do the synchronized diving. I just can't believe that what they can do with all that type of fun stuff. So I'm gonna stop sharing this so I can see everybody again. There we go. So if you want to raise your hand, I see. Here. Let's go with Michael. All right, you're gonna have to unmute yourself there, Michael Pohl. All right.
Oh, it's my tomorrow is my 45th birthday tomorrow. So my first NBA player whole time was me, a famous ball player when I was at Butler University when UW played Butler. My favorite guy is number 20 from Boston Celtics.
From number 20 from the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he
very cool.
He went to Butler University.
Okay.
And us three guy came like good friends. I came a good friend with Butler coach and him. Played now for Butler and he played for Utah. And I came to be like our best friends when we worked at UW Milwaukee.
Oh, that's very cool.
Nice.
Well, thanks for sharing, Mike. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
I saw Scott has his hand raised.
Yeah, Scott. Oh, lower your hand. Oh, where'd you go? I lost you. Hold on, Scott. Go ahead, Scott.
So my favorite athlete that I've met actually, so me and my brother were going to a Duke game on August 30th, and it was Duke versus Elon, and I was sitting on the bleachers, and apparently one of the point guards from Duke basketball team named Quinn Cook, he's on the Lakers now. He came over, and my brother said, "Hey, that's Quinn Cook. You should get his autograph." So I was like, "Wait, who's that?" And he pointed, it was right there. So I got his autograph, and now he's in the NBA. And I'm like, wow, I got his autograph from just college, and now he's in the NBA.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right, let's see. Jennifer.
Jennifer?
Yeah. I think Jennifer, you have to unmute your side. You're still on mute on your end. Okay, go ahead.
Donald Driver.
Donald Driver.
Why is he your favorite?
I got an autograph and picture taken with him.
Oh, very cool.
Wow.
I think one of the first Milwaukee Admirals game I went to, he dropped the first puck there, and I'm not a big Packer fan, but I've heard a lot of really good things about him.
Yeah.
Very cool. He was really fun to watch. All right, David. I think you have to unmute yourself on your end. Go ahead.
So my favorite, actually haven't met, but I was in line to meet, was Giannis from the Bucks, and a close second tie is Christian Yelich.
Okay, very cool. The Milwaukee players here. So what do you like about Giannis?
Oh boy, his athletic ability is something else. Let me tell you, he's fun to watch.
Fun to watch. And what about Yelich?
You ever seen his hit? Holy camoli! The boy
He can launch it, can he?
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's see. Theo, did you want to share? I think Theo, you have to unmute yourself if you do. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Theo.
When I was younger, and this was when I first did the Special Olympics Bucks clinic when I was younger, I got to meet Ray Allen.
Oh, very cool.
So that was, yeah. So I really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. I would say that Bucks clinic was fun. It's a fun event because you get to meet some really cool people. I know, he's been out there. We had the one year that I had to really had to make sure I went on my way to say hi was when Jason Kidd was out there when he was coaching the Bucks. And
Yes.
I told myself that 12-year-old me would be upset if I didn't give him, didn't shake his hand a little bit here. So that's cool that you were able to meet Ray Allen there. All right, let's go. We got a couple more. John, go ahead.
I went to a Timberwolves game and I went to see KG play. Kevin Garnett is my favorite player of all time. So my dad took me when I was little to go see him play against the Seattle Supersonics.
Very cool. I grew up in Minnesota and KG was my guy. I loved KG growing up too. So it was Shaq and KG. So whenever they played against each other, that was always a fun one for me. But I was heartbroken when he got traded.
Yeah. But he made a lot of good money, though, with a lot of teams that he played with.
And he won a championship.
That is true.
Yeah. So, well, very cool. I love that pick.
It had to be said. It had been said.
There you go. Let's see, Tyler. Tyler, you want to unmute yourself?
So what bring me up here? The player I got met was back about a couple of weeks ago. My parents set something up for me, which it was a surprise, but I got to see Zach Baum of the Badgers.
Oh, very cool.
Who's getting drafted to the New Orleans Saints.
Okay. Very cool. Who's your favorite athlete of all time? Can I guess it?
I guess because I had a couple jerseys, man.
Is it LeBron?
Well, that's been a long. I always, as it used to be, but I don't have his jersey anymore because long story. But I still do like him. I still have mad respect for him. But if I give you the favorite all-time player that I really liked,
yep,
I'm going with the dynamic duo, Michael Thomas and Drew Brees. Those are my two favorite dynamic duos.
Okay, very cool. I just know you. I know you and your dad like to debate LeBron James and all the teams he's on.
Yeah. I argue in the finals for 3 out of 5 finals we've been arguing. It's been a fun topic, but hey, LeBron's going down one of the greatest players of all time. Even if Michael Jordan has more rings than him, it still doesn't matter the great that LeBron's been to 8 straight finals, which is very remarkable. And Michael Jordan almost matches the six finals. I think Michael Jordan been in 8 straight finals, or is it? I know he won 6 rings, but was it 8 championships for him?
No, he won. It was 6 championships. He went to 6 out of 7, and the one that he missed, he was playing baseball.
Oh, I didn't realize he played baseball.
Yeah. If he played baseball for a year, and then he came back and won 3 more. He won 3 championships in a row. Took a year off to play baseball, and came back and won 3 more. So.
But yeah, LeBron 8 straight finals. That's remarkable. Even if he's 3 of 7 record, which,
I would say that was one of the first debates on this show. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna put you back on mute. We're gonna move on to our next topic, and you know what, Sam? I'll let you lead this one off because I think it makes sense for me to lead the next one off. So let me pull up your. Sam came prepared today with some audio visuals here. So what we wanted to discuss as our first debate topic. So if you want to think about your own here, is what's the best rivalry in sports? So what's the team that you hate but you love to see your team play again? So Sam has a video to share what hers is, and remember what perspective she's on, so you don't get too excited. Oops. All right, let me do this real quick.
The 100th anniversary season of the NFL will kick off right here with the Packers and the Bears. In just a few days, Soldier Field will be filled with tailgating fans ready to watch another chapter in this amazing rivalry. I'm going to talk about that history with some fans who are already here.
Hell, look at this now. I thought I smelled some aged cheese. Have a seat. Join us. You've got to be some kind of a masochist to come back here, my friend. Easy there, Bob. He probably doesn't know what that word means, playing his whole career in Green Bay. Right.
As a Packer, I brought you guys a little peace offering.
Oh, what, are you trying to kill us there, Favre?
You guys don't like pork chops?
Not the pork chops, my friend. It's this little carb monster here. Get rid of that poison. We're on a full keto diet here, my friend. Here, fix that. There we go. That's much better. That was a close call. That's right. Here's our keto burger. Yeah, there you go. See where the most dangerous part, the bread, is replaced with fried chicken.
Look, I'm just here to celebrate the 100th birthday of the NFL.
I think I gotta stop it there. I don't think our health.
Well, it's a Bears centennial this.
Okay, so I think everybody can guess that. I think the best rivalry in sports are the Bears versus the Packers. And I feel like I'm going to have some supporters with me on this one. But nevertheless, we always need to back up what our opinions are. So I've done some research, okay? And I think some of this stuff is going to be pretty interesting. All right, so there's only 200 miles that separate Green Bay and Chicago, right? About 200 miles. And it's kind of like small town Green Bay versus big city Chicago. So in 1921, you know, about 100 years ago, Chicago was the second largest city in the country. It had 2.7 million people, and Green Bay was this, you know, blue collar paper mill town and had about 30,000 people, right? So I don't know if you know this, but the NFL didn't start out as the National Football League. It began as something different called the American Professional Football Association. And the Bears were one of the founding franchises, although back then they were called the Decatur Staleys, I believe. And the Packers became a member around 1921. But that is where the off-field rivalry started, because after a year, the Packers had their membership revoked because in one game, they played 3 college players. And that was a big rule breaker. Can't play college players in a professional game. So do you know who the guy who ratted out Curly Lambeau was? It was Papa Bear Hallis, the founding guy for the Bears. So he ratted out the Green Bay Packers and got the Packers kicked out, right? So he had a reason that he did this. He wanted one of those 3 players. He was a Notre Dame player. So he gets the Packers kicked out. He signs the Green Bay player or the Notre Dame player, the college player, to become a member of the Bears. And then, out of good faith, he helps the Packers get back into the league. Nice guy, right? But that's kind of where it started. So they had actually their very first meeting. There was a single moment on field that started the rivalry. And it's when a player from Chicago by the name of John Taylor, he threw a sucker punch and broke the nose of a Packers tackle, Howard Buck, right? And then about 3 years later, the NFL saw its first ever player ejection when the Bears' Frank Haney and the Packers' Walter Voss, they started exchanging some words, and then they threw some punches, and then they got ejected, right? So I think that's when the big rivalry started.
So they just can't play nice? They just can't go out and play nice in the sandbox?
It's football. So anyway, so give you some stats. So they've met 200 times. Packers have won 99 games, Bears 95, and there's been about 5 or 6 ties. But 50% is a pretty good matchup when you have 2 teams playing together, because it's like a coin toss. You never know who's going to win. So that's why even the whole country's excited when it's NFL season and it's the Packers versus Bears, because like I said, it's a toss-up as who's going to win, right? So, you know, if you didn't have the Bears going into cheese country or the Packers bringing their Vince Lombardi mythology into Chicago and doing battle at Soldier Field, I mean, would it really be football? Would it be the end of the world if that stopped? Well, I think it would.
If we kept watching that video, am I correct that Bears fans call the Lombardi Trophy the Ditka Trophy?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Yes.
I see some nods. Yeah. You may have more support than you think here.
Hey. So, you know, my final point, you got green and gold versus blue and orange. That's a pretty good mix-up of colors right there.
Here, I'm gonna do my counter argument here. Eracy, you're unmuted. Hey, do you care about the Bears-Packer rivalry?
Used to be a fan of the Packers, though.
Oh, you're not helping me.
Packers. Name of the trophy is the really. I forgot the name of that person.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna help me and just say no. I'm a Vikings fan. I don't care about those two.
No, but I am. We used to be a fan of the Packers. She got it wrong.
Okay.
Because the name of that trophy has been storming of the Super Bowl twice. Back to back Super Bowl wins.
Oh man. All right. Well, Racy, I think you just helped her because you just proved that more people care. Well, I guess that's a terrible argument because of the one I'm going to share. I will tell you about my favorite rivalry that I think is the best rivalry, but we'll see. So I have a video presentation for mine too, but it's only going to be about 20 seconds here. Let's see. It is Gopher hockey versus North Dakota hockey. I have to stay on brand with my hockey choice.
For superiority. When you play North Dakota, you don't need any extra motivation.
Well, like you said, that it doesn't take much to get these guys battling back at each other.
There's always something at stake when these two face off.
So I wanted to just show that for a little bit, the intensity that I have with this. So why I think Minnesota versus North Dakota hockey. So if for those of you who aren't college hockey fans, you probably are going to say, oh, that's not the case. But these guys have been playing. They're two of the most successful hockey programs in the country. North Dakota's won 8 national championships. They've gone to the tournament 32 times. Minnesota's won 5. They've gone to the tournament 37 times. And they started playing each other back in 1930. So we're not talking about too much later since so when was that? When did you say the Packer-Bears rivalry started in the 20s? Sam?
1921.
Okay.
1921.
So we're talking about a 9-year difference here. So there's still the historic significance on that side of things. The two teams actually played each other for the national championship in 1979. So that's one thing I would say that's different than with the Packers and the Bears. I don't remember I could be really wrong here. I remember them playing for a Super Bowl. So if you take a rivalry to the championship game, that just escalates just beyond comparison. Players that are part of this rivalry, they grow up in Minnesota, they grow up in North Dakota, they're born and raised with this rivalry. They're not drafted into this situation. And actually the fun part about that is both schools recruit from the other side. So you have people who've grown up in Minnesota that play for North Dakota and vice versa. So that just adds the animosity for that. So then you talk about how they couldn't play nice, they started getting ejected, all that type of stuff. So some things that are highlights from this rivalry that's been a lot of fun is, one, both teams have ended the other team's season, which that's the highest stakes you could possibly have it in the championship game. You get to play against each other, or you're playing each other in the playoffs, you get to end each other's season. There's nothing better than that. There's been full line brawls where you saw the guys were out fighting each other. There was even a moment during this rivalry where they were doing the handshake line after the game and a fight broke out there. So you're talking about trying to be nice and good sports, and they can't even do that between these two things. And there's been last second and overtime heroics in these games that just got it off the chart. So I think that with some of those things, it just kind of builds those rivalries. And also, here's my fun little story. You talk about how the rivalry off the field for the Bears and the Packers. Probably a little bit less than 10 years ago, North Dakota and the NCAA had a disagreement about whether North Dakota could go by the Fighting Sioux anymore. And the NCAA said, hey, you can wear your jersey at home, but if you go on the road, you have to ask the other team if you're allowed to wear that jersey. And Minnesota emailed them right away and said, absolutely not. You have to find something new to come here. So the pettiness of the off-field stuff, like the Bears and the Packers there, that exists in this rivalry too. So that's why I choose that as the best rivalry. That's why I that's my favorite rivalry and all that type of stuff. So we have some comments coming up here. Do you want to, Sam, you see any of those?
So I see Mike raised his hand.
Oh yeah, Michael Pohl?
Mike Schultz.
Oh, Mike Schultz, hold on. I see it. Mike Schultz, go ahead. You have to unmute yourself.
I like my rivalry is the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, that brings up my question. All right, for those of you in video, raise your hand. Who thinks the Packers and Bears rivalry is the bigger rivalry?
Come on.
Got a couple. Who thinks the Vikings and Packers are a bigger rivalry? Okay. I was curious on that because when I came here, I thought the Vikings Packers were the biggest rivalry, and now I'm in Milwaukee, and it's definitely Bears that way. So, B had sent me a message said it's definitely the Bears. So you like that rivalry the best there, Mike?
Yeah. Did we do a poll on that?
What was that?
Did we do a poll on that?
Do a poll on that? We'll put it out there. So, all right, let's say I'll go with Michael Pohl. You got your hand up. Go ahead.
My favorite rivalry is Lakers against Boston Celtics, and my favorite rivalry is Iowa against Wisconsin football.
Iowa versus Wisconsin football. Okay. This is where I don't know. We'll see on the poll. I put that on the poll, the Badgers versus Gophers, because that's my bias that I have. So I didn't know that the Iowa one was bigger or not. So, Jennifer, go ahead. Yep. I think you have to unmute yourself.
I love Milwaukee Bucks.
The Milwaukee Bucks? They're their big rival with the Chicago Bulls?
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. All right,
How about David Thompson?
David Thompson. Go ahead, Dave. You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Sorry about that. How about the Wisconsin Badgers versus Golden Gophers for the Axe? That's got to be the
Axe
football out there.
This is where, if I had my normal co-host Don, he would be posting the picture of the Badgers hoisting the Axe there. Even though it's a pretty even series. It just hasn't been even recently. That's a fun one to be. That's a fun one. You've gone to a couple of those ones. It's definitely intense. So very cool. In the comments, I see Nate had said Red Sox versus Yankees due to the curse of the Bambino. And then Matthew says St. Louis Blues versus Minnesota Wild. That's a good one. I grew up as a Wild fan, and I tend to lean towards not liking Vancouver or Colorado, especially Colorado right now. So, but yeah, St. Louis is definitely. I've been to a Wild game in St. Louis, and their fans weren't very nice to me when I was wearing my Wild jersey. So I can see where that comes from. Scott, go ahead.
I think one of the biggest rivalries is Alabama versus Clemson.
Alabama versus Clemson. Yeah, that one, I know Auburn, Alabama has been going on forever. That one down there you don't even talk about. But Clemson, when they started getting good, it's definitely that's a huge one.
Or you could say Wisconsin against Ohio State too, because they match up a lot.
Whenever they play each other, it means a lot. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. And some of the times Wisconsin wins, some of the times Ohio State wins, but the majority of these years it's been Ohio State.
Yeah, they're kind of a juggernaut. Ohio State is.
What do you think? I have a question. What do you think the biggest or toughest team in college is the toughest to beat? Like, what team in college do you think is the toughest to beat?
The toughest team, as in like who to beat in college or to play against for football?
Yeah, to play against. Yeah. In the NFL and college.
Ugh. See, the NFL changes every so often. I know, Sam, what do you think for the NFL or either of those?
Well, let's see. Who won the Super Bowls recently? The Patriots?
Yeah, Kansas City looks like they're going to be good for a while.
Yeah. It varies, I guess.
I don't know. So I would say, you have the Alabama's always a hard one. I'd say I always think Oregon's probably pretty hard to play because they always have some sort of fun offense that they kind of roll out there. And plus, it's hard to look at those jerseys for too long. But then you have to – I would say there's teams like your Hawkeyes there, Sam, where they're just going to out-physical you until the end of the game. It's nothing going to be – I've watched a lot of games that end up really low scoring, but, man, is it physical.
The Hawkeyes send a lot of players to the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do you guys ever do fantasy football or fantasy stuff?
I do fantasy hockey, but that's how nerdy I am.
I do baseball, basketball, hockey, and football.
Jeez, that's a full-time job.
Pretty much.
When I was growing up, I grew up on college football, and the ones to beat were the Michigan. They were tough. That was a big rivalry, Iowa and Michigan.
There you go. All right.
It ebbs and flows.
All right. I will fully tell you. We'll launch a poll. These are rivalries I picked up. I wanted to put some Wisconsin flair in there, and it was also something I found as like the top rivalries in sports. So there is another category if you don't like my option, but I did include both of ours this time. So here you go. Go ahead and vote. What is the best rivalry in sports? So I have the Packers-Bears, Lakers-Celtics, Red Sox-Yankees, Duke versus North Carolina, Wisconsin Badgers versus Gophers, Ohio State-Michigan, Milwaukee Brewers versus the Cubs, Maple Leafs Canadians. The one I chose, Gophers versus North Dakota, and other. So we'll see. This can't be the second week in a row where neither of our choices gets votes, is it?
Got a lot of basketball and baseball fans, I think.
Let's see, we still got a little bit, so maybe I'll give it another 20 seconds or so for a couple people to vote here. Rita says, I love all the rivalries in the Big Ten. There's a lot of fun. That's the fun thing about the Big Ten. There's a lot of trophy games. That makes it a lot of fun. John wants to say Vikings went to the Super Bowl but never won. We know. We're aware. And Mike says this is a hard choice. I agree. There's a lot of good ones in there. So let's go ahead and end it. We had pretty much everybody, and I will share the results. So it looks like Badgers Gophers is our top one with 5 votes, but it was pretty well spread out. And Sam, I'll congratulate you because you got a vote and I didn't. So there you go.
Woohoo! You can buy me lunch.
I'm surprised Ohio State Michigan didn't get anything. That's also a big one. Who said other? Does anyone raise their hand? All right, Noah, you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the other one?
The Warriors and the Lakers.
Warriors Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun one, especially once the Warriors are going to be back at full strength next year.
Yeah.
And that'll be fun to watch that play out. So very cool. All right. We're going to move on to our first quiz, the Who Am I quiz. So, Sam, do you got your clues up?
Oh, I got to get my clues up.
So I'll explain it for everybody. So the Who Am I quiz, we're going to give you some clues. We're going to say, we'll give you clues about somebody in sports. And then when you know it, I want you to use the chat and put your answer out there. The first person to get will win a prize. And I really hope it's not in the first clue like it was when I did it. It's not going to be Giannis. I already did Giannis. So when I did Giannis, I got to answer it in the first clue. So let's see how we do this here, okay? So I'll go. Do you have it up there, Sam?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. So who am I? I was born in New York.
Second clue is I played for 3 professional teams.
All right. I kind of stole this one from last week. I added it a little bit. My highest batting average was 202. Mike says the New York Yankees. We're looking for a player or a person.
A person, yep. Okay. Clue number 4. I was drafted in 1984. And Jeff, we're looking for a person.
I think the Packers were around before 1984. I won 6 championships. Derek Jeter, that is not right.
All right, clue number 6. I won 5 MVP awards. Anyone?
This one might be the game changer here. I was the first player in NBA history to win the scoring title and the defensive player of the year in the same season. Mike doesn't know. Michael Jordan, that's right.
We got a winner.
Oh man, I was trying to throw you guys off with the baseball stats. Very cool.
My mom is on this Zoom, and I'm surprised she didn't get it. I'm ashamed of her. She's a big sports fan. Shame on you, Mom.
Oh, man. Well, that leads into our next debate topic. And I forgot to use my background last time. I have to keep I have to keep this up because Don's not here. So we're going to talk about what is the best team in sports history. So we're talking about not just the Milwaukee, not just saying the Milwaukee Bucks, but we're saying a specific year or specific season. What's the best team in sports history? And so I had to go with that. I have to go with it has to be the 1995-1996 Chicago Bulls as the best team in sports history. So I'm going to throw some names out there for people. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, and a coach like Phil Jackson. I mean, those are out of the five of those I just named, 4 of those are in the Basketball Hall of Fame. So those are some great, not only athletes, but also the coach and B.J. Armstrong, Steve Kerr. Yep. These are all role players on this team. That's how good they are. They came out with a hot start. They started off 41-3, and they finished the season 72-10, which is I wish Don was out here because I love this stat. That's the best regular season record for a team that won the championship. Because the Warriors won 73 games, but they lost LeBron that year. So they won 72 regular season games. They only lost 3 playoff games. If you're keeping track at home, you need 4 playoff losses to lose a series, and they only lost 3 in the entire playoffs, which is insane. And 2 of those were when they were already up 3-0 against Seattle in the championship game. They beat people by 12 or more. Like they averaged beating people by 12 points or more. And they're the only team to have 3 players on the NBA all-defensive first team. So when you think about that, this is their 4th NBA championship. It was the start of their 2nd three-peat. So a lot of the bulk of this team stayed together and that were part of all 6 of these championships. And they beat a great team that year in the Seattle Supersonics, who had Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Detlef Schrempf, Sam Perkins, to name a few. So I think there's so much they accomplished, and then that's also back in the 90s when in the NBA there was a lot of great teams they had to go through in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference to get that championship. So that's my vote for the best team in sports history. So here's where I gotta apologize because I have to throw Sam's video up here, and we're getting really Chicago heavy here. So. And I don't know if I can fully approve of showing this because I just said it doesn't hold up as well as you think it would. So here's to help Sam out for hers.
We are the Bears, shuffling through, shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good. Blowing your mind like we knew we would. You know we're just strutting fun, strutting our stuff for everyone. We're not here to start no trouble. We're just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
Well, they call me Sweetness, and I like to dance. Running the ball is like making more mans. We had to go since training camp to give Chicago a Super Bowl champ. And we're not doing this because we're greedy. The Bears are doing it to feed the needy. We didn't come here looking for trouble. We just come here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
All right, I gotta stop this.
Oh, I'm sure everybody will watch it after the show's done, right?
Oh my goodness. Mike says that video is funny. I agree. I'm glad they're good at football because rapping and dancing is not their thing.
Well, so my favorite, or what I think is the best team of all time, are the 1985 Chicago Bears. So this video was recorded and released in December of 1985. So the season wasn't even finished, right? They had just suffered their first and only loss against the Miami Dolphins. And the next week, they went on to record and release this song, and it actually got to number 41 on the Billboard chart. So that's pretty good. They were
didn't.
Yes, number 41.
Oh, the 80s were a weird time.
They were the first sports team to record a rap song. And so anyway, we'll get back to this song later.
And they should have been last. The last team to record a rap song.
So, like I said, I think this team was the greatest sports team ever. Now, I was only 11 years old in 1985. But I always knew they were the best, but I still had to do some research to back up my argument because I was only 11, right? So they finished the regular season 15-1, like I said, and they only lost to the Dolphins. They ended up going to the Super Bowl, and no, they weren't a dynasty, and it was just about they were being the best team. They made their opponents look like junior high football teams. These opponents didn't want to play the Bears because they crushed them. They led the league in points allowed for 198, yards allowed 4,000, and takeaways, the defense, 54. This is the defense I'm talking about. And this wouldn't even be accomplished again until the year 2013, the Seattle Seahawks. So every quarterback feared the Chicago defense. And then in Super Bowl 2020, they broke more records. It was the biggest point difference at the time. They won 46-10. And that, so they finished with an 18-1 overall record. And only 5 teams they played that year got more than 10 points. That's pretty good. So, so let's talk about the team. So they had swagger. These were a team of characters. You had Jim McMahon. He was the punky QB and his headbands. The defense, they would get on the field. They would start barking like dogs. Talk about throwing the other team off when the defense starts barking at you. Then you got Mike Ditka and Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator. I mean, they had the biggest egos of all. Okay, you have William Perry, I think he was a defensive tackle. They called him the Fridge. He was a rookie player. But the players actually called him Biscuit. And they asked the players, why do you call him Biscuit? And he was like, well, he was one biscuit away from 350 pounds. Okay, he was a big guy. Then you have Walter Payton, probably the greatest running back in NFL history. He was the 1985 Offensive Player of the Year. Everybody loved Peyton. They called him Sweetness. He was tough, and he was always on the field. And in fact, whenever he'd be coming off the field, even the commentators on TV were like, oh no, what happened to him? Why is he coming off the field? Because he just wasn't a player who gave up. So Bears fans loved him. Non-Bears fans loved him. And then you had Mike Singletary.
Which I can't believe how he looked in that video. He looks completely different than he does now.
Right? Now, Mike Singletary, so he'd get on the field, right? And he was the best. He was the 1985 Defensive Player of the Year. So Mike Singletary, he would get on the field, and he'd do this with his eyes. Everybody remembered him. He'd do this with his eyes. All right? Just another thing that he did to try to throw the other guys off. And then, of course, you have Mike Ditka. He was the 1985 Coach of the Year. All right? So this is one of the most talented teams ever assembled. 5 of their defensive players went to the Pro Bowl that year. 4 eventually became NFL coaches themselves. And to end this, any team that makes a video called the Super Bowl Shuffle, and they haven't even gotten to the Super Bowl and didn't even win the Super Bowl yet, and they make this video, I mean, it's automatically the greatest team ever, and that will never happen again.
There's a lot of people who've made promises like that they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then they don't do it. Your mom made me feel bad about making fun of the video because she's mentioned all the proceeds went to the needy. So I don't know. I feel like I should take back a little bit of that. But what makes them better than, they won the Super Bowl that year, but there's also been an NFL team that's gone undefeated I mean, wouldn't you think that makes them better?
Well, okay, so are you talking about the 1972 Miami Dolphins?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Dolphins, they played fewer games, and they're playing in Florida. Nice weather, Florida. Must be rough. So no. You've got the Bears and the Packers too. They play in this cold weather. They played some of the coldest games. 2008, the game at Soldier Field, like the coldest game ever. I mean, our teams are much tougher than the Southern teams.
Here's my unpopular opinion as a Minnesota fan. Why not play inside when it's cold and play outside when it's warm? I don't like indoor baseball and outdoor football. So there you go. Michael, you have your hand up. Go ahead. You have to unmute yourself, I think.
Yes, I think it's good baseball rivalry when Baby Luke and Luke Garrett played in 1975 Yankees. 27 Yankees. 27
Yeah,
Yankees.
there's a lot of Yankees teams on the list. I did not choose that Yankees team, so you can make sure if you want to vote for the other, you can do that. But I chose I think I chose the '98 Yankees team because they had the best record in the regular season. But yeah, there was a lot of Yankees team on that.
Jason, I have a question about your choice because you're saying that the 95, 96 Bulls were the best. So they were up 3-0 against, what was it, the Supersonics?
Yeah.
And what happened to them? They didn't, Bears had to come out and they had to win it on the first try, and the Bears, they lost steam. What happened? How can you call it the greatest team if they don't sweep in their final?
I can look at what the Bulls did for their 4 games in the first 4 games of the playoffs. They won them all. So I guess that defeats that purpose. Because you only have to win 4 games to win a championship there. The Bulls had to go ahead and win. What is it? It was a 3-game series. They had to win 15 games to win that championship. So to lose 3 games out of 18 is not bad. And when you're talking about a month or so span of the playoffs. So, and Theo said Gary Payton happened. So you can't mess with the glove. They're different sports. You talk about, they played less games. Well, the Bears played how many games that season total compared to?
Yeah,
compare that almost 100.
But I wonder, we're talking about a team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically 4 players won that season for the 95, 96.
Hold on.
Right.
Load it back up here. Steve Kerr also won that year. We had your mom was helping me out here too. B.J. Armstrong was on that team. John Sally was on that team.
Okay, so I grew up in Iowa, and B.J. Armstrong played for the Iowa Hawkeyes in college. And I actually went to the same dentist that the Iowa Hawkeyes went to. So I actually had at one time B.J. Armstrong's autograph on just like a little, message note that he signed for me while he happened to be at the dentist. So, because my dentist actually played for the Hawkeyes too, played for Hawkeye football. So,
what's kind of funny about?
I knew baby BJ before you knew baby BJ.
It's funny that you share the autograph story. Our family heirloom. So remind everybody, my whole family grew up in Minnesota. I'm in Wisconsin as like a side thing. Our family heirloom is we have an autographed football from the '85 Bears. So that thing's gonna be worth a little bit of money. But my dad got it at one point, and my brother and I have been arguing over it ever since. So there you go. There's a fun autograph story. Well, anybody else have any ideas for what they think the best team in sports history is? This one's a little bit harder. I know you have to think, there's a lot of research with it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say my favorite team in sports history that didn't win a championship was the '98 Vikings. You had Moss and Culpepper, and they went, was it 15-1 in the regular season, and then Gary Anderson stopped kicking field goals for us. So I enjoyed that one. All right, maybe I'll put the poll up here, and then I put a little context with the teams I chose. Again, I went off of like a list that was online there, so I will launch it and I'll read these off for you. So we have the '85 Bears. They went 18-1 Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl, and they had Peyton, McMahon, Singletary, Perry. The 98 Yankees, which went 114 and 48, which is crazy. Jeter, Rivera, O'Neill, and Williams. 95-96 Bulls, 72 and 10. Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Kukoc. The 2016-17 Golden State Warriors, they were 16 and 1 in the playoffs, so they only lost one game in the playoffs, which is kind of crazy for the NBA. Had Curry, Durant, Klay Thompson, I think I spelled his name wrong there, and Green. That should say the 1972 Dolphins. Wow, I did not spell check that. Only undefeated team in the NFL. Grice, I'm not even going to go with the names. 83-84 Edmonton Oilers, Gretzky, Messier, Fuhrer, Coffey. 89 San Francisco 49ers, only 2 losses, outscored teams in the playoffs 126-26. Montana, Rice, Lawton, Young. The Packers in 1962 that went 13 and 1, their second consecutive Super Bowl, had Starr on that team, and then the 85-86 Boston Celtics swept MJ in the first round, and they had Bird, McHale, Parrish, and Walton. So that's what I came up with doing some online research there. We'll see what we got for votes coming in. I kind of figured the Packers one was going to start getting some votes here. All right.
Now remember, the 1985 Bears were the first team to record back-to-back playoff shutouts. They won. There was a shutout in the divisional round, and then shutout in the championship round. Come on.
I don't think you're getting more votes on this. All right, we'll call it here. So let's share what we got. So the biggest one, the 62 Packers. I'm real surprised by that. I think I can put anything Packers or Brewers up here, and that's going to win the polls. 95-86 Bulls looks like came in second. Golden State Warriors, so 16-17 Warriors. And you got 72 Dolphins and your 85 Bears with 1 vote there. So you didn't get shut out. That's good.
Unlike the Bears today.
Also, best team to fall. Nate said the 2015 Badger basketball was also one of the best teams to fall there. So let's see, 2004 Red Sox, arguably the best comeback story in sports history. I agree. I went. That was a team that was fun to watch. They came back down 3-0 against the Yankees and won the World Series that year. 76 Hoosier basketball team was undefeated. That's a good one too.
You know you have a good team when they make a whole movie about your team.
I know, that's why I should have
Gene Hackman.
Well, what about if they make a 10-episode series about the team? And that's part of me. I was like, should I go with the Miracle team? I can stick to my hockey stuff. Let's see. Mike, you have your hand up. Mike Schultz. You have to unmute yourself, though.
I liked Milwaukee Bucks basketball team. They're kind of cool to see.
They're pretty. They've been pretty dominant the last couple of years. So hopefully they can get something together. I just got a message for 1996 Toon Squad was pretty epic. Yeah.
They almost make it to the All-Star game.
Also the finals?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were close last year, and hopefully when they come back this year, they'll be able to make it.
Yeah, if everything doesn't get canceled.
Yeah. Well, very cool.
And Nate Barge said the best team to fall short, the 2015 Badgers.
Yeah. I remember watching them fall short. I wasn't happy by any means. Man. All right, so we're down to our last segment for the show today, and this one, we'll see how this goes. Sometimes it's easier than others. We're going to do Stump the Host. So what we're going to ask you to do is go ahead and come up with a sports trivia question that you think Sam and I don't know. This could either go one question or a couple questions. I prefer it not to be whose cousin hit a three-pointer in a game once. We had a couple of those. So if you have a question, you want to raise your hand, I'll unmute you if you think you have a good sports trivia question to stump us. Not all at once. Oh, Racy's going to try again here. All right, Racy.
That's right. Mine is Bart Connells. I know him. That was way back from '85.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a trivia question for us?
That's the one. It was 1976 team, that USA team, and she was from Chicago, and he was also in Chicago too.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it at the one who is in Madison office.
Oh, yeah. The Chicago factor there.
Yeah. Yep. I know Bob Connells actually.
Do ya?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because we are both gymnasts.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Dump of you guys history of Bob Connells. What year he was in the year of the Olympics.
Well, what Olympic year did he compete in?
Yeah.
All right. How well do you know Olympic gymnastics? Good. It's both our wheelhouses then. But you're saying so. All right. Based on what you're talking about, sounds like it's going to be the 70s or 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go 80. Hold on. 80 was a Winter Olympic year.
76.
Is that 70? Did you give us the answer? 76?
76 or 84. That's the last time he was in the Olympics. He already retired. I just met him. It was 85.
I was going to tell you, I was going to get that wrong because I thought I couldn't remember when they stopped doing the Winter and Summer Olympics the same year, so I was going to guess 82. I figured it was in the Winter Olympic year.
No.
All right, let's see. We'll see if anybody else. Does anybody else have a trivia question?
So Jason, you have a question. You have one. What year did the Twins' great Rod Carew win the American League MVP?
Oh no. I will be way off on this. All right, I really should have.
I have no idea.
I'm going to be way off, and I'm just going to feel really bad about myself. So, 79?
Nate, was it 79?
Dang it. I was closer than I thought.
Oh, 77.
All right. There you go. All right. Well, that should do it for this week's Sportscast. I think we've gone over so much Chicago stuff that I got to take a couple weeks off from this thing. So next week we'll be back. Don will be back with another co-host. It'll be 4:00 next Friday, and we'll have a following week as 4:00 as well. We're going to keep this 4:00 time slot for the month of June. So thank you for joining us, everybody. I really appreciate it. It was a fun time, and hopefully you'll come back next week with Don and mystery co-host at that point. So bye, everybody.
Go Bears.